Greetings and salutations.
Hey guys, I am Sam, and this is After the Bars. Man, you know, like 3 days ago, I was gonna do this story. Sorry, I just ate a sandwich. That was totally disgusting. I was gonna do this story on the Alec Murdoch trial. I mean, I made the thumbnail like 3 or 4 days ago, but then I kind of got sick this weekend. I had a fever last night, a fever that, you know, all the weird stomach stuff and stuff coming out stuff that I don't want to say, at least not in the first minute. Can't really talk about that stuff in the first minute. So I should do like a 60-second timer up here somewhere. That way I know when the language can change. You know, I did a little quick thing, an update on the Linda Sturmer case. That's for my other channel, but I incorporated it into the After the Bars channel. And if you haven't, go check out Legal Livewire Court Cam. It's my other channel where we do court cams. I'm going to start putting more stuff on there. It's official. So I'm going to pay more attention to that, a little less attention to this, but the attention I do pay to this will be more valuable to you guys. So it's actually a win-win for everybody. But right now what's going on is what's in the headline. Well, now it's been a couple of days, is the case that, you know, captured national attention. Of course, it's back in the spotlight. The Alec Murdoch trial, you know, may not be over. After all, the woman who oversaw the jury, and I've talked about this before, the exhibits in the courtroom environment, the clerk of the court, was named Becky Hill, has just been arrested and charged with multiple felonies, including perjury. These charges could shake the very foundation of the Murdaugh trial and the conviction. So the big question now is, did Alec Murdoch get a fair trial, or was justice manipulated behind the scenes? I have a lot to say about this. Because we all know he's guilty. Right? He acts guilty. He looks guilty. He was guilty, you know, everything. But, you know, Becky Hill, the former clerk of the court, and the really high profile double murder trial has been charged with perjury and misconduct in office and obstruction and financial crimes. These charges stem from her false testimony under oath, unauthorized release of sealed trial exhibits, and the use of her position to promote her book about the Murdoch trial for personal gain. The investigators say that Hill lied about sharing evidence with the media, including disturbing crime scene photos and police body cam footage, and even pushed for a guilty verdict before the trial ended, allegedly stating that a conviction would sell more books about her book. Murdaugh's defense team claims this is a direct evidence of jury tampering and is using it to bolster their appeal to the South Carolina Supreme Court. Let's take a look real quick at what's actually going on with this chick, man. Oh, perfect. I didn't have my shared screen ready. Well, isn't that lovely? Here we go. Only take un momento, por favor. Alec Murdoch. Okay, here we go. Oh, we can't have it like that. All right, here we go.
Alec Murdoch getting a new trial. One of Murdoch's attorneys is here.
Come on.
Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. It's been more than 2 years since a jury found disgraced liberating Murdaugh's fate has been charged with 4 felonies. Becky Hill is no longer the clerk of court. She declined to run for re-election after she came under a cloud of suspicion after writing a book after Murdaugh's conviction. Then she admitted to plagiarizing part of that book, and Amazon pulled it. South Carolina's law enforcement division began investigating Hill months after the trial, when rumors started swirling that Hill may have used her position as clerk of court to publicize and write her book. Then there was another rumor that she may have used federal funds for bonuses. The rumors were enough to spark ethics complaints and a criminal investigation. And the rumors piqued the interest of Alec Murdoch's attorneys. Then there were rumblings about the jury and the egg lady juror who was dismissed in the middle of closing arguments. It turns out Becky Hill was talking to that juror and asking her a lot of questions. That also piqued the interest of Murdoch's attorneys. Alec Murdoch is serving 2 life sentences without the possibility of parole for the murders of Maggie and Paul, but he and his lawyers maintain he did not get a fair trial. They believe Becky Hill tampered with the jury, and they point to her book as Exhibit A. Here's Justice Jean Toll questioning Becky Hill at a hearing in January of 2024.
Well, in your book, you suggest that the guilty verdict was what you wanted, and you were fearful that that a guilty verdict would not be rendered. You say that a lot about your feeling about wanting a guilty verdict, do you not?
I do agree that that is said in the book.
This is insane.
And part of that is because I think it was a guilty verdict.
Well, this is you were describing a time way before the verdict was rendered. When you wrote about those things in the book. Isn't that correct?
It is, yes.
And you even have something where you say your eyes met with jurors and others at Moselle, and y'all had an understanding, unspoken, that he was guilty. You said that in the book, did you not?
I did say that in the book, and I would consider that part of the literary, the word that we just said. But there was nothing
Creative
spoken
license
with the juror at all at Moselle,
Sure.
or anywhere else at the courthouse or anywhere. I think that's part of that poetic license that we write to make something more apparent.
Poetic license.
But at no time did I read or try to read someone else's eyes, and that was just one of those gut feelings that I wrote in the book.
In the end, Justice Toll determined that anything Becky Hill said didn't influence the jury with the comments she made to them. But Murdoch's attorneys disagree, and they're appealing to South Carolina's Supreme Court. So why is Becky Hill facing criminal charges? Well, investigators with SLED say she committed perjury in another exchange with Justice Toll about sealed exhibits for Murdoch's trial.
Did you ever allow anyone from the press to view these sealed exhibits?
No, ma'am.
Did you allow Netflix to ever examine the exhibits for trial?
No, ma'am.
This is a law and crime legal alert. Did you know that children are being diagnosed with serious conditions like was a lie? Justice Toll pressed Becky Hill about the sealed exhibits because some members of the media received copies of them.
How did you handle exhibits? Because you did have the press have great access to the exhibits, and you say...
I just want to state too real quick that her position as a court clerk is she's an elected official. It's not like she was appointed or hired. That's an elected official. She had to run for office to be the clerk of the court. So it's a trusted position by the citizens of I can't remember the name of that town, but of that place in South Carolina. All right.
Several times in your book that you had to stay after to be sure that you interacted with the press about these exhibits. That's true, is it not?
That is true. We had Mr. J. Bender, then we had the pool photographers and someone from maybe the state, I believe, or the Post and Courier, along with the court reporters, someone from court administration, and then someone from the clerk's office every night that would go over the exhibits to make sure everything was correct and within our domain.
Were any press people ever allowed to view the exhibits, even the sealed exhibits that you had on file?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
That's a lie. Well, that's why
What
she
was
went
the
to jail.
methodology for allowing them to examine the exhibits? How'd you handle that?
I wasn't there a whole lot when we did this every night, but it's my understanding that the people that were involved with the exhibits, and especially the court reporters, and there was a certain time frame that they were allowed to take their pictures, and everything was, all of the pictures were looked at by the court reporters that were there, and the lady from court administration, along with someone from my office and Mr. J. Bender, to make sure that everything was done correctly.
What I'm asking is how you handle having them, the press, view these exhibits.
If I remember correctly, the press, we had certain designated photographers, and then someone, I think, from the state or the Post and Courier, and they were responsible for putting it out on a stream for the rest of the media to access.
Would they do that by photographing the exhibits as they were in your possession after court was over that day?
That is correct.
All right. And how did you handle the sealed exhibits in terms of their availability when these press people are there photographing exhibits?
They stayed sealed.
Why?
So you think that you're aware of the fact that some of these on the scene photographs of the two decedents found their way into the public press. You're aware of that, are you not?
Yes, ma'am, I am. Yes.
After that testimony, Murdoch's lawyer, Dick Harpootlian, pulled up
She
an
said,
email
"Yes, ma'am,"
showing
then
that Becky Hill knew that the media had received sealed exhibits.
But what it is an email from Rebecca Hill.
I really like
Takachuchi.
He's one of my favorite lawyers.
Miho.
Yes, Lori G.
Buford McDowell body cam should not have gone to you. Please get rid of it. Do not use it. The Judge Newman, specifically ordered that body cam not be used if it got out. Apparently, it's still on the videos we were saved. I appreciate your attention. What about what about the other body cam video we could see on many news documentaries? Can you provide it? It seems the camera was on the other police personnel. I mean, here she's having emails between this Japanese production company about body cams telling them to get rid of it. I think that's important, and I can have a copy of this printed out for you when we can get it to a printer for you for the record.
That would be fine, but do you want to offer it as an exhibit?
I do.
All right, Mr. Waters?
I have no objection. If I could just ask the date of that.
The date is July 17th, 2023. July.
All right, that's one thing. What else? I will admit it. I will allow it. That is a impeachment of her testimony to me that she did not send any emails
Yes,
or release anything.
Yes, Your Honor.
In fact, she changed that testimony on redirect when she said she did, so-called by accident, release some things.
That doesn't appear to be by accident. So we'd like that made part of the record. Secondly, I have sitting outside the courtroom the clerk of court for Barnwell County, Rhonda McElvey. She specifically denied saying certain things to the clerk of court of Barnwell County and denied doing certain things. I think you're going to find her testimony extraordinarily instructive and educational. And it shouldn't take, I would be shocked if it took 20 minutes.
This woman's testimony that's about to come up, she was found not credible. First, I can't remember why, but she was found not credible. We're gonna take a look at it. Let's just take a look at it real quick.
In light of the answers she gave to my questions and some of yours in that regard, I'm going to allow it.
After Hill's testimony, Murdoch sat, grasping his hands. Then the clerk of court from Barnwell County testified.
During that, before the trial, before we ever picked a jury, did she ever discuss with you that she was going to write a book?
Yes, sir. She wanted to write a book. Yes,
wanted
sir.
to write a book. Did she indicate what the book was going to be about?
About the trial?
About the Murdaugh trial?
Yes, sir.
And did she discuss with you, what, if anything, did she discuss with you about how she felt the verdict should turn out to be in the Murdaugh trial, vis-a-vis in reference to the book? What would help the book?
A guilty verdict.
And tell the judge and me what exactly she said to you that you remember. This is prior to the trial.
Okay. Well, first of all, she said we might want to write a book because she needed a lake house and I needed to retire. And then further conversations, a guilty verdict would sell more books. And we left it at that. This was before, even in December.
And when did she ever say that again to you during the week she spent there?
Several times. It could be said it was, amongst friends in her office, or we might be having dinner, that kind of stuff, but that's about it.
That she needed a guilty verdict to sell more books.
That would be the best way to sell books, yes, sir.
The best way to sell books. Now, during this process, did she ever express to you an opinion on whether or not, in fact, was Mr. Murdaugh guilty of the murders of his son and his wife?
Yes, sir.
Tell me what she said, and if you remember when.
I don't exactly remember when. I know it's over half of the trial had already happened, but the evidence was coming forth that it looked like he might be guilty, and she made a comment that guilty verdict would be better for the sale of books.
They keep saying a guilty verdict would be better to sell books, but I tend to disagree. I would say that a not guilty verdict would be better to sell books because of how guilty he is, because it's so obvious that he's super guilty, especially with the if you guys remember the Snapchat video that Buster made, the one that was killed with his mom out at the dog kennels, and you hear Alex Murdoch's voice in the background, and that was seconds before he was blasted in the chest with a shotgun. Sorry about the imagery that I'm describing, but it's what happened, and it's disgusting. But yeah, I would argue that a not guilty verdict would be better to sell books, because then you could write a salacious book about how guilty he really truly was, just like the OJ Simpson trial. He's super guilty, and look at all the books that came out of like, no, this fool's guilty. Let's continue.
Books.
Rhonda McElveen's testimony then turned to contact that Becky Hill had with the jurors.
Okay. Now, as a result of a conversation you had sometime during the trial, I don't want you to relay to me what was told you. Did you have a discussion with the clerk, Becky Hill, about her being with jurors on her own?
Yes, sir, I did. One morning I showed up to Colony County, and I was told that she had taken a juror home the night before. And I was in the courtroom and I saw her, and it was between the pews and where the back row pews are. And I mentioned to Miss Becky, I said, please tell me you didn't take a juror home last night. And she told me, she says, I did, but I didn't talk about the case. I had a bailiff with me. Mr. Bill was with me. I said, Becky, you don't do things like that. I thought we had stopped everything. It wasn't far enough along to really cause a major problem, or I would have told Judge Newman. But I thought we had an understanding that you did not spend time alone with
She's
jurors.
lying.
Now, at the end of the hearing, Justice Toll found that Becky Hill was not credible. Those were her words. But she denied Alec Murdoch's request for a new trial, as I mentioned earlier. But SLED's investigation was not over. And this week, Becky Hill was charged with felonies, including perjury and misconduct in office. A warrant states, in Richland County, South Carolina, on or about January 29th, 2024, Mary Rebecca H. Hill, being the elected clerk of court of Colleton County, did willfully and unlawfully give false, misleading, or incomplete testimony while under oath in a court of record. During the hearing, former Clerk Hill did willfully and unlawfully give false and misleading testimony when Chief Justice Jean Toll asked former Clerk Hill, "Did you allow anyone from the press to view the sealed exhibits?" And Hill responded, "No, ma'am." This statement was inconsistent with the events of February 28, 2023, when former Clerk Hill did release or make available sealed evidence, photographs to a third party or parties. Hill also faces misconduct in office charges and obstruction charges, one involving an allegation that she failed to protect the sealed exhibits, and another about her book. The warrant states, on or about June 7th, 2023, Mary Rebecca Hill did promote a book in which she was an author, Behind the Doors of Justice, The Murdaugh Murders, while using her public office to promote the aforesaid book on social media. Such act being for her own financial gain and in violation of her duties, in violation of the laws of the state of South Carolina. Affiant's belief is based upon video evidence, statements, and SLED investigation. Hill is also accused of using federal funds meant to support child support enforcement to give herself a bonus. The warrant states, on or about September 1st, 2021 through March 5th, 2024, Mary Rebecca Hill, being the elected clerk of court of Colleton County, Hill requested and then received $9,880.10 in financial bonuses for herself that were paid from the Title IV-D incentive funds. Such funds were obtained by Hill and utilized for her own financial gain. Furthermore, on or about March 5th, 2024, Hill received a financial gift and or bonus in the amount of $2,000 paid by a check from the Colleton County Clerk of Court's office funds and utilized for her own financial gain in violation of her duties.
So to discuss this major development, I want to bring in Dick Harpootlian. He is one of Alec Murdoch's attorneys. So Dick, I want to know, how are you feeling about this development with Becky Hill's arrest? She has now been charged formally with perjury. Basically, they believe she lied to Justice Toll. You believe at the time last year during the hearing that she lied to Justice Toll when you presented that email from the Japanese film crew. So how is this going to impact the appeal?
Well, I think clearly Justice Toll didn't find her credible, but not being credible and lying under oath are two different things. She not only, she's been charged. A prosecutor believes beyond a reasonable doubt she lied under oath about giving certain sealed materials to a Japanese film crew or other people. She testified during that proceeding that she never said anything to either one of the jurors that testified. They say she attempted to influence them. One of them said it did influence her. She said never happened. So it just seems to me that her any shred of credibility or any shred of giving a decision that relies on anything she said ought to go out the window. So Jim Griffin and I talked after we had a chance to examine the warrants yesterday, and we believe that this should help us in our appeal.
Yeah. So, what does this really mean? What does this really mean for, yeah, okay. They're going to get their appeal. So what, they're going to retry Alex Murdaugh? The evidence is the same. They're going to get the same outcome. Becky Hill might have had some influence on a couple of jurors by what she said. And it was because she wanted to, whatever she wanted to do. I don't even necessarily think it was about her book, 100%. Just because she said that to a girl doesn't mean that that's why she said it. She was probably just, giving her own commentary on the trial that was happening. But what's new about this is that there was, perjury during the testimony to Justice Toll, right? She released those sealed exhibits to the press using federal child support funds for personal bonuses, like they just mentioned. promoting her Murdaugh book while in office, which is, I guess, illegal. I can see why there can be a conflict of interest. The jury tampering allegations, her comments about guilty verdict, helping book sales, direct contact with jurors, including driving one home, like they just mentioned. The egg lady juror removal, was she targeted? They haven't talked about that in this, but I can talk about that later. What this means for Alec Murdoch. Alec Murdoch's attorneys believe these actions denied him a fair trial. The legal standard, could Hill's actions have objectively influenced the jury? I wouldn't think so. But even if they did, it doesn't mean he's not guilty and that he wouldn't have been found guilty. The potential for a new trial or further appeals. The bigger picture is that ethics and responsibility in high-profile trials, when ambition and public office collide, the risk of showmanship interfering with justice. What happens next in this? I don't know. The state's response to appeal is due August 8th. I know that's a long time. Murdoch's team responds in September. I know that's a long time. Possible oral arguments, then Supreme Court decision. The federal appeal possible if the state relief is denied. I don't think the state relief is going to happen. I think it is going to be denied. It's going to have to go to the Supreme Court because the Judge Toll knows that the evidence is so heavily weighed against Alex Murdaugh. There's just no reason to spend that much money to have another trial, no matter what happened here. But I do believe the Supreme Court will turn that over and give Alex Murdoch his new trial, where he will be found guilty again. We can watch a little bit more of this.
To file anything with the South Carolina Supreme Court, some type of addendum or something like that?
Hey, Galen.
Because she now has been formally charged?
Well, so the process is on January 8th, we filed our formal appeal briefs and exhibits. They have till August 8th, the state, till August 8th to respond to that. And then we get 30 days after that to respond to their response. So in that response to their response, we will obviously fold this in.
Were you surprised at how long it took for the charges to be filed? Because we knew for a very long time, from at least before you filed your motion for a new trial back in September of 2023, that she was under suspicion for ethics violations, that there was a lot circulating out there. There were a lot of rumors about what she was doing with the book. And even at the end of the trial, I remember hearing very clearly that she was talking with the four-woman on the jury. There was a lot out there. And then we knew there was a criminal investigation. Are you surprised that it took this long for charges to be filed? We know that these investigations can take a long time, but it's been well over a year since the hearing, that was January of 2024 when you guys had your hearing for the motion for a new trial.
Well, it has taken a very long time. Fortunately, something has happened prior to us having to file that final brief. But as I told a reporter yesterday, I think this is a good start. I'm hoping this isn't the end all be all. Remember now, and this concerns us, the agency investigating her is the same agency that did the investigation on the murder case and the witnesses on the murder case. It raises severe and significant questions about whether there's a conflict. Now, they'll say, well, it's a different division and whatever. Look, we're a small state. That's a small agency. It's the same chief supervising both investigations.
But look, let's just be honest. Alex Murdaugh's guilty. So all this is moot.
I'm sure I'm not questioning anybody's integrity. What I am questioning is the ability to focus on Becky Hill and look in areas that might further jeopardize that conviction. There's a whole series of events I was a part of before the judge ultimately dismissed the juror we all know as Egg Lady. There were a series of hearing conferences in chambers concerning allegations Becky Hill was making before her more than a week or 10 days prior to her actually being excused, involving some email that didn't exist. We find out didn't exist, by what she said was Egg Lady's former husband, which it wasn't. It was a guy in Georgia. It had nothing to do with the case. Why was she stirring the pot on that?
If you guys aren't familiar with it, with Egg Lady, she was let go from the trial. I can't remember for exactly why, but they didn't want her to go back into the jury room to taint the jury, and she during her lunch break she had bought a dozen eggs and she had left them in the jury room, and she wanted to go back and get her eggs. That's why they call her the Egg Lady.
Obviously, intentionally, a week or more before Egg Lady when she came in with more evidence. I mean, she was clearly out to get the Egg Lady excuse from the jury. Did that mean that she had inside information on her Egg Lady's position? I mean, apparently she did indicate in her testimony and affidavits that she had severe questions about whether the state had proved beyond a reasonable doubt. How did she know that? Why was she after that? Those are the questions that need to be asked and investigated. There are folks who were witnesses to that process that I don't know have been interviewed. I know they, like last week or week before last, a couple of SWAT agents interviewed the two jurors that testified. And Joe McCullough, their lawyer, I think he issued a statement yesterday, indicated it was perfunctory at best. And it wasn't a real effort to get to the bottom of the matter. So I'm concerned about that. All we really want is for Alec Murdoch to get a fair trial. Now, and people say, well, he's pled guilty to stealing millions of dollars from his clients. If he got a new trial and was acquitted, he would not get out until he's 75 or older, and he's 52 now. So this isn't a walk. This isn't a free walk for Alec Murdoch. It's a trial based on the facts, not on a jury that somebody's tried to fix.
I feel like there are several things that could happen here with the South Carolina Supreme Court. Is it possible that they feel could they find that Justice Toll erred in not hearing testimony from the Egg Lady and then kick it back to the lower court for further proceedings?
No.
Is that one possibility?
No. Look, the record Justice Toll made is pretty damn good, except we think there's federal cases that say you don't ask the juror, would it have changed the verdict, or did they change the verdict? The question is, did somebody in authority say things to them that could have objectively influenced their verdict? Not whether it did or didn't. She applied a state case called Green, which we would respectfully disagree with her on what it means, but it doesn't mean that. There's a federal case which says that if under the record she made,
thank you, Galen,
which was the clerk talked to them, the clerk said things that could have influenced, we get a new trial. So, and if the state Supreme Court does not adopt that federal standard, we'll ask a federal court to hear this. But I'm convinced that we have a good opportunity here for our Supreme Court to set the boundaries on what is misconduct and what level of conduct by that clerk of court or bailiff or some court official requires a new trial. And they could give us a new trial without ever having to deal with the myriad of evidentiary issues that were raised during during the trial. And there's all kinds of issues about what we would call, as you know, technically 404 evidence, 403 evidence, expert evidence, whether they were qualified to testify or not. Our brief is well over 100 pages, and it just scratches the surface. So I'm not confident is the wrong word, but I'm optimistic that our Supreme Court will allow us to come back and give Alec a opportunity to defend himself on the murder charges.
So if you're
Well, I think that's enough for me. Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see if they get the new trial. I believe they will get a new trial. And it's going to be a shit show. It's an interesting case. Thank you, Galen, for the gifted memberships. Also, if Auntie Monkey Pants is here, thank you so much for the Venmo gift today. I really appreciate it. Mariana appreciates it, and we are truly blessed by the fans and viewers and friends that we have here on After the Bars. It couldn't have happened at a better time, and we just really appreciate it. Hopefully you guys are doing good today. Sorry I didn't have a morning show. I did do a little bit of a little quick show on what did I do? That not a show, but I did a video. Oh, about with Linda Sturmer. She was sentenced today this morning, so I thought I would just do a quick show on her sentencing. That was her second trial, and she was able to get out during on appeal while she was on appeal after she had already served like 10 years of a life sentence, which would just blew me away that she was able to get free again. She's the woman who, what did she do? She lit her house on fire, lit her husband on fire, then her house on fire. Then when he got free, she ran him over in the driveway. It just up here at the top, which side? Up there at the top, you'll see a link to that video right up there. And go check out that video. It's pretty good. It's her sentencing. And we talk a little bit about the facts of the trial and what all has happened. And then there's some victim testimony in that too. But all right, what do you guys think? Do you guys think Alex Murdoch should get a new trial? Put a 2 in the chat if you guys think he should get a new trial and that you don't think he got a fair trial. I don't think he got a fair trial, but I still think he was guilty. So does that mean I think he should get a new trial? Yeah, I do. I think he should get a new trial, but the facts are still the same. He's still going to get found guilty. And the only reason why I think he should get a new trial, because if he doesn't, because of what happened, that means what about the people that aren't guilty and are found guilty with this same kind of situation and they don't get a fair trial or a new trial? What about those innocent people that are sitting in jail today because of situations like this? So I do think he should get a new trial. I don't really think he should, I don't think he should expect too much from that. But I want to thank you guys for all coming out. Ben, LKF, Awaken, Misha, thank you so much. Woofy, thank you so much for being here. Lori, Kim, Joe Mama, Boho Hobo, it's good to see you all. John Lazone, my buddy AV Stevie from childhood, my high school buddy. Who else is here? Galen, Shell W. Thank you guys all for coming out tonight. I just wanted to do this little quick one because I missed it the other day. I had it all set up, ready to go with the thumbnail, but got sidetracked with life stuff here at the house. But things are starting to even out. We're going to have some consistent content this next week. I'll be here tomorrow morning. We're not going to cover too much of the Karen Reed trial unless it's Proctor or someone huge that comes up, but we will do little recaps. But we're just going to talk about the stuff we talk about. Just going to go back to normal broadcasting, try to grow the show and see what we can do. We're going to do a Lifeline show probably day after tomorrow. That's going to be super fun and cool. It's going to be about this time. It'll be like in the evening, maybe a little earlier, but the Lifeline show was a success. Not with how many views it got, but just with a success here within the community. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun with that show. So anyways, thank you guys so much. If you know anyone out there that needs a leg up or a hand out or a hug or just hey, you look great today, or you know what, I think you're doing great today, reach out to that person and let them know that you love them. All right, guys. I love you guys. Have a good evening.
Oh, wow. Well, this has been a journey. This has been a journey before us like a journey through. From legal troubles to mental health issues, to my own struggles, to your struggles, sharing your struggles with me. I appreciate you, and thank you for that. Oh, yeah. Good night, good morning to the listeners of the After the Bar shows. From morning mayhem or the random nighttime show. Good night, good morning to the listeners of the After the Bar shows. From the morning mayhem shows or the random nighttime shows. My people from recovery to legal trials, hoping unity is what we're speaking about. It's a long way to the promised land. All my people understand that this land is our land. One nation under God and ain't a thing changed. This ain't that and that ain't this, not the same thing. I'm about to bust a move, this a new groove. Kinda like a mission, not the Blues Brothers, but good night, good morning, mega listeners of the After the Bar shows. From morning mayhem or the random nighttime show. Good night, good morning to the listeners of the After the Bar shows. From the morning mayhem show or the random nighttime show. I can feel it.